Hello, 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 sellers. Come on in. I'm going to be sharing super product sourcing tips that work all across the United States. In fact, they'll also work outside the United States. And I'm going to include some really biggie mistakes that I see people make. And I've made a few of them so that you can avoid them while you're using my product sourcing tips. But come on in, come on in. And to start with, what I want to talk about with product sourcing is thinking outside the box. Now, when people say, Kathy, think outside the box, eBay seller, think outside the box. Um, I, my initial reaction usually is, well, what are you talking about? And the reason I say this is thinking outside the box is going to be different for everyone. So if you're somebody that sources traditionally with thrift stores and consignment stores, thinking outside the box can be, where else can I source? Okay. Then if you're somebody where you do yard sales consistently and they really work for you, thinking outside the box can be, where else can I source besides yard sales? And then thinking outside the box is going to be different depending on where you are in the United States. And this is why. Because every part of the United States and the world, for my friends that are listening from the United Kingdom and Australia and Canada, is we all have different immediate sources of inventory depending on where we are in the United States or the world. For instance, my friend Cheryl, who lives in Kansas, for her, estate sales rock. Where she lives, there are great estate sales. Then I have friends in New England, and they have great online auctions with local pickup in their area. Okay. Here in New York City, what's happened is thrift stores and consignment stores, for the most part, the prices have gotten very high. So thinking outside the box, rather than going, oh, I can't source in New York City, rather go, what other stores are there in New York City that might have good prices where I can buy something that's undervalued? I can buy something and then flip it on eBay. It's called retail arbitrage. And that's really what most of us are doing in one way or another. We're doing arbitrage. We're buying the item for less than what we can sell it on eBay, and then we're flipping it. The only people that doesn't apply to are my wonderful friends that are crafters or that are creators. And so they're taking supplies from various places and they're creating beautiful things that they're selling. So the thing is to look at, how are you sourcing now? And where else could you source that you have access to? And don't forget the internet. Okay. But think of immediately for yourself. And it might be something like an outlet mall. Okay. You've just never gone to the outlet mall, or you've never thought about the outlet mall. Or perhaps when you tried it 3 years ago, 4 years ago, a year ago, the prices were really high, or the merchandise wasn't items that sell really well on eBay. Well, guess what? Things change, right? Prices change, demand changes, things change. So it's worthwhile, even if I've gone to a store, or I've gone to a location, or I've gone to a thrift shop, right? I checked that thrift shop 6 months ago or 2 months ago, and the prices were just nuts. They might have changed. So with anything, as part of my circle, wherever I'm sourcing from, it's worthwhile to check on various places that I might have checked 6 months ago or a year ago or a couple of years ago, and it really, wasn't working. Just go back and see if things have changed. So this is what I want to tell you about product sourcing and about thinking outside the box. So I'm going to speak as if traditionally I've been sourcing pretty much like in thrift stores and consignment stores, and I want to check out some other ways to source. Easiest one, if I'm used to consignment stores and if I'm used to thrift stores, is what other thrift stores nearby or consignment stores nearby can I source from, right? So I might have my route or might have the stores right in my immediate town, but perhaps when I go to visit my friend in the next town over or 2 towns over, or because we are right at the end of August, I'm dropping my kids off at college, or I'm going to go visit my mom or my dad or my sister or my brother in a different town in a different locale. I do this with my sister in Boston all the time, is when you're visiting, go thrifting, right? I mean, I have friends, my friend Peggy, who flies to Europe. I mean, she thrifts in Europe. She goes to these wonderful flea markets. I don't know if it's really thrifting. She goes to these wonderful flea markets in Germany and scores the most fantastic stuff. So take an empty suitcase. Don't pack so heavily. Take some nice tote bags, depending on how you're traveling. I'm traveling on the train, so I'm okay. And source while you're traveling. You get some remarkable things that way. Also, source while you're running errands. And again, we want to keep our eyes on the road. But on my way to my kids' school, on my way to visit my mom, there's that really cool hardware store. I never thought of hardware stores for sourcing, but now I'm thinking outside the box. Stop at the hardware store. People buy hardware on eBay. They buy new hardware. They buy vintage hardware. And this is the thing that's interesting about buying from retail stores. It may not sell in your neighborhood. This has happened to me several times in New York City, where I'll go into a store. It's actually a drugstore I went into, and it was a home decor item. And it was marked down like 90%, if I remember correctly. I was like, get out of here. It was a fall seasonal decor item. Really cute, super marked down. But you know what? But it didn't sell in New York City. But I looked at it, and it was sort of a unique, one-of-a-kind kind of item. And I went, it's not a lot of money. It's super cute. I think it'll sell. I'm gonna grab it. And I did, and it sold. It sold like 30, 60 days later. It was a cute faith item for the fall. And I knew, the keywords with faith and prayer. I knew it would sell. It was cute, and it did. So go to the hardware store. What do they have? And look at all the different things. I know our little local hardware store, they have small appliances. I mean, yes, they have hardware. So they have all the nuts and the bolts and the hinges and all of that. And if you know that, they might have a really good price. They might doing a closeout on something because it doesn't sell in your area, but it sells in other areas. And this is why our cell phones are such handy little research items, because all you do is jump right on eBay. You don't even need to use Terrill. Check listings, see how much competition you have, and see if it's selling. That's what I always look at. Are there other listings? Is it like a gazillion listings? So I'm going to be up against a lot of competition. A lot of competition is okay, though, if it's selling. So is it listed? Is it selling? And then the other thing is, go dig around in those corners, because that's oftentimes where you find good stuff. This is true in thrift stores. This is true in consignment stores. This is true in retail. And don't overlook things like hardware stores, little tiny niche stores, little boutiques, those little tiny thrift stores. I had a really great little tiny thrift store, which sadly has closed, which was literally 2 blocks from my house. It was tiny. They did not have a lot of inventory, but what they had was really, really good. So I'd regularly go and check, because it was very small. They could only put out so much stuff, right? So you always want to check like after the weekend, because that's typically when a lot of people are shopping, and see that fresh inventory that they're putting out on Monday. Okay. So grow where you're planted. Absolutely use the stores that you're used to. Are there some other stores perhaps en route to the stores that you're used to, or on the way home? Or maybe you could take a different route. Think outside the box. If you always do yard sales, maybe try a thrift store. If you always do thrift stores, maybe try a consignment store. Maybe try a local auction. Maybe try a brown bag sale. Now, the New York City store, there used to be a great warehouse in Brooklyn, and they would have the bag sales on weekends, on Saturday. You'd pay a certain amount of money. I think, if I remember correctly, it was $5 a bag, which for New York City is very good. As you could shove as much stuff as you possibly could into that brown bag. And let me tell you, you had to work very fast. That was one time when the phone's not going to help you, because you had to grab it fast, because if you didn't grab it, somebody else was going to. But at prices like that, you can afford to make some mistakes, right? And then if it's not something that's going to sell on eBay, you donate it to your favorite charity, right? Or you end up using it yourself. So things like hardware stores can be really good. Sporting goods stores can be really good. And all kinds. And then things like outdoors. Don't forget fishermen. Don't forget golf. Don't forget camping. Okay. Again, what can be hard sometimes when we're thinking outside the box is it's not an activity that I do. So I'm not a wilderness camper, right? I am not a fisherman. I am not an avid kayaker or canoeer. However, I look at the item. This is the great thing about if you're doing it in retail stores is a lot of times they'll have the barcode on it or it has like the brand on it. So I can search the brand, I can search the type of item and see if it sells. Again, it might be because the branch in your neighborhood, for instance, back to New York City, I go to my local Home Depot. I'll bet my bottom dollar, I haven't been for a couple of months, is things will go clearance in New York City Home Depots that will not go clearance in suburban Home Depots. Why? We're very limited on space for the most part in New York City, right? And then you in the suburbs, what might go clearance for you are all those space saver items where you go, who cares about space saver for their shoes or for their kitchen or for their appliances? I'll tell you who, New Yorkers, Boston, all the big city people, right? Boston, Chicago, Atlanta, also RVs. And if you don't know, that's huge. Camping's huge. RVs are huge. And they love space saving items. So whatever your route is, see if you can add on maybe half an hour a week, half an hour every couple of weeks, an hour every couple of weeks, and try a new store or location. This can involve taking a different route somewhere. This can be thrifting or shopping when you're traveling. So don't forget, when I'm traveling is absolutely thrift stores and flea markets and antique malls, another good one. I remember visiting a friend of mine in Vegas, and she had a wonderful thrifting buddy visiting her. We were all in the car together talking eBay, of course. And she loved to hit the antique malls in Vegas. Now, you would think these people absolutely know what this stuff is worth. How on earth is she going to do any sourcing? But she was very nichey, and she knew certain things really sold really well online, and that's all she was looking for. She'd go into these antique malls and really search for certain things, and then also looking for bundles. So I'm going to buy from the vendor, but I'm going to buy maybe 10 or 15 items for you. So then you're going to give me a better price. So always think outside the box. Think outside the box. Is there a category that I could go into? Maybe try some hinges. Maybe try some space saver items. For me, I did it with, so I did the faith items. I'm a woman of faith. So it's like, I know my keywords for prayer and faith. So it was like, I could do this. And it's a cute little item. Brand new with tags. If it doesn't sell, this will be a great gift for somebody. And that's my last tip is if you're venturing into categories that you don't know, you check on eBay, there's listings, you check souls, it sells. So you're like, this looks like this could sell. Is buy things that you like yourself, where it's like, worst comes to worst, I can use this myself, or that would make great gifts for people that you love, because that can be a great way to sort of venture into, like, I have a really good friend who loves to fish. So venture into fishing or text them, message them, get them on the phone. Tell me, what are really big hot selling items for fishing? What kind of stuff do you look for? What kind of tackle box do you like? What kind of little add-ons do you like to take with you when you go fishing? Like, do you like a fanny pack, for stashing things or not? Do you prefer more like the shoulder bag that you're putting everything into? What do you like when you're fishing? When you're golfing, what do you like to put in the golf bag in your golf cart? What add-ons do you like? Especially if you're in big golfing communities, you really want to look out for that kind of thing. But all of this is think outside the box. Think outside the box, because people will buy for their sports. People will buy for their hobbies. Okay. People love to camp. It's an affordable way for a lot of people to take vacations, but they want those nice little things to take with them when they go camping. So always think about, can I take a different route, check a different store, or even within my thrift store, consignment store, let me go into a different area than I normally go into. If I always do women's clothing, let me go check out linens. Let me go check out towels. Let me go check out kids' shoes. Pick one other category and then go and look and search. And your phone is your best friend. But don't neglect stores like sporting goods stores, hardware stores, office supply stores, and you're looking for the sales. You're looking for the discounts. And then make sure, that's why you got to go on eBay. It's not just that it's listed, particularly for my newer sellers. It's not just that it's listed. It's like being in the store. It's not just that it's in the store. Does it sell? And one final quick tip is when you're in the store and realize it's going to, this kind of thing can differ depending on locality. So something can be wildly popular in New York. It's not wildly popular in Minnesota. It's wildly popular in Nebraska. It's not wildly popular in Arizona. That kind of thing. Is check with the salespeople. They, for the most part, I find they love to talk. Is what's really popular? What, when you stock it, you cannot keep in stock. It's always flying out the door. And then write it down. If they have pictures or if there's one left, or if it's on their online website, whatever it is, ask them, what's the big seller? Kids' puzzles. What's the big seller? Red sneakers. What's the big seller? This one kind of fishing lure, this one kind of fishing rod. And then see if you can source it, because you might be able to source it in another place. Okay. So that's my thing for you, is grow where you're planted. What inventory can you get your hands on? But look in those corners. Look at I love little stores. That's one thing New York's really good at. But check the little boutique, check that little thrift shop. Okay. It's not the big giant thrift shop, but there might be gold in there because it is smaller, particularly if you're in an area where there's a lot of resellers. And that little store, because everybody's used to going to the big store, has gold. And then check to the clerks, what's really popular? What do people like? And particularly when you're in thrift stores, resale stores, when do you typically restock? When does the good, fresh stuff come out? Because you want to make sure to be there on those days. Okay. Now, right now, it is end of October. I'm doing well, aren't I? End of August. Okay. We are still in the middle of back to school. If you're in the South, yes, school is back in session for you. Hey, Christy, how are you? You're welcome. However, it is not back in school yet in New York, New England, and our chillier states, right? Up at the top of the United States. So back to school is still selling. And don't forget, when people are shopping for their kids, and this is kids of all ages, our little pre-K guys, all the way through toddlers, through grade school, through high school. And yes, high schoolers are shopping for themselves, college, and don't forget teachers. This is still a big, big season for back to school. So hop over to my website, ilovetobeselling.com, and I have the ultimate guide to back to school products for you. This is free. Oodles of pages, well over 15 pages of ideas of things that sell for back to school. And again, you think, okay, Kathy, backpacks or cell phone cases or a laptop case. Yes. And a lot more. Again, think outside the box. So hop over to my website, ilovetobeselling.com. I'm having problems talking. I was just away for the weekend. This is what happens when you take a couple days off. And grab yourself a copy of the ultimate guide to back to school products, pre-K, and don't forget the little guys, through college. It is my gift to you. So grab that free. And enjoy thinking outside the box. It's fun. It's fun to discover new inventory, new niches, new stores. And then you got wonderful, fresh, in-demand inventory to sell on eBay. Okay? I'm Kathy, and I love to be selling. Bye-bye, everybody.